And we are live. Hi, everybody. I'm in a dancing mood, but I'm not going to dance. But I invite you all to do a happy dance that we're here. I'm not going to dance because I would unmicrophone myself. We are here, though. And on our end, it looks and seems like our video is good, our audio is good, but I do want to check in with you. So please let me know in the comments, can you see me and hear me well? Let me know, and then we will officially begin. And speaking of comments, they are one of my love languages, truly, truly. So let's start off the love for each other right away and let me know that you're here in the comments. Bonus points if you want to shout out where you're from and what you are hoping to get from our live stream today. By the way, there is also a button. I believe it's right under the video. There's a button somewhere around here. Oh, yay. Benjamin says that we are good to go. Thank you. Thank you. And so it is Jody. Yay. So I believe there's a button somewhere around or under this video if you feel like sharing this out with your network. I would love for you to do that if you do, because we never really know who else is out there that needs to benefit from what we're working on today, especially in these rapidly changing times. So also, comments-wise, my team is going to be standing by to make sure that we get to all of your questions. They do sometimes get lost. We're going to do our absolute best. If you ask a question early on, please do. But if you're seeing that it looks like I'm not answering, you can always pop it back in. Bottom line, though, as we go throughout today's training, let me know what is resonating, what might be confusing, and what specific questions you would like for me to answer at the end. So let's do this, yeah? All right. So we know that action is crucial to success, right? But there's a question that I want for you to consider. Why is it that sometimes inaction, like if done from the right space and intention, can reap more rewards than action itself? Is scaling a business and living out the bigger contribution that you wish to be, is it a series of choices or a process of surrendering to something bigger than yourself? Is finding and expressing your purpose a matter of intention and persistence, or is it about transformation and healing? And does innovation come from what you, your team, and your business are doing, or from who you are all being? Now, if you're wondering about this last question, it is rhetorical, because my guess is that if you're here, you already know that it is both doing and being, right? So today, we are going to resolve the innovation conundrum, which is the gap that most leaders face between the consistent discipline action required for rapid growth of a business and the consistent depth, wholeness, and fulfillment that you need to keep your business aligned with purpose and integrity. So by the end of our time today, you are going to have the blueprint to a specific process that I promise, if you follow it, will lead to consistent clarity of purpose and alignment with your vision, no matter how rapidly you choose to grow in business and leadership. Now, before we go any further, here's what I'm not going to give you today. Right? So today, I am not going to give you a linear one-size-fits-all bunch of steps that may or may not work for you or your business. In fact, you're never going to find those things from me. There will be no superficial business advice because, frankly, though it can be semi-helpful, is a dime a dozen these days, and it's probably not why you're here. Instead, we are going to go deep, okay? And for deep to make a real impact on your leadership, it's got to be experiential. So I'm not going to give you a bunch of esoteric theory that sounds good, but lacks grounding in the practical world of business, okay? Instead, I would rather give you a non-linear process that will work whether you're already clear on your purpose, moving full speed ahead, or you're still figuring out what your contribution is even supposed to be. And some of you might be somewhere in between. And the process that we're going to work with today works whether you already have the practical tools you need to scale or you are feeling bogged down by the obstacles of business growth. Now, the same process, which I have used with over 3,500 leaders, is just as effective with practical, very stable CFOs and HR directors as it is for innovative visionaries who are breaking through barriers of change. Okay, later, I'm going to show you some examples of how this process can be used with leaders of startups, just as well as it can with executives of Fortune 500 companies, as well as it can with coaches, consultants, and solopreneurs alike. In fact, I would love to know which category you fall into in the comments. And while you're popping that in, I'm going to just pop back in and see who is here. So we have Julia from Atlanta, Georgia. Julia, I keep seeing your face pop up on LinkedIn, so I am very happy to have you here. Jody is here. Benjamin, who I believe goes by Benny, is here. Sally is really hot in Texas. We're sending you, it's not hot in Los Angeles, but I bet you have it worse. So I'm sending you some cooling your way. Sally's is getting out of your way. I'm imagining that might be something you want to work on. Fantastic topic. Payun is here as well. Yay. And I also want to make sure that I have my comments populating correctly. I do. But and Trevor is here from Toronto. Obilu from Nigeria. Beautiful. Loving our international crowd. So good to see you all. Okay, so if you don't know who I am, if you haven't met me yet, I am Jordanna Eyre. I am the co-founder of Spiral Growth Systems, which is formerly known as Modern Day Sorcerer, if you've ever heard of that. So I help business leaders activate their authentic power, driving exponential growth through a proven self-awareness strategy. In my program, the Spiral Leadership Academy, which, by the way, I think we have one or two people from the Spiral Leadership Academy. Say hello if you're here. In Spiral Leadership Academy, we use a nonlinear framework for soul exploration that will help you embody creation's natural process of growth so that you, your business, everything you touch has equal amounts of professional impact and personal fulfillment. Now, what we are working on today is one of the 9 leadership accelerators that I use. One of the 9 leadership accelerators that I use to help my students embody their unique sweet spot where impact and fulfillment intersect. So today we are working on the leadership accelerator that I call Plug Into Progress, which coincidentally happens to be what we're working on in Spiral Leadership Academy right now. Very interesting. But if you are curious about all 9 of the accelerators that you see that are up on the screen here, then do stick around because before the end of today, I'm going to give you a free self-assessment that will walk you through each accelerator to help you assess where you're at right now in your growth and leadership skills. So today, 3 pieces that we are going to cover today, and I want to hear in the comments which one you are most excited about. First, we are going to learn to navigate change. Oops, right there. We're going to learn to navigate change. Number 2, we're going to align your direction. And 3, we will balance or really even integrate the laws of expansion. Now, this last one is a game changer, so please do stick around for it. But if you are serious about plugging into progress for yourself and your business, and maybe you have to run early or you're just feeling the pull at any moment to learn more about how my framework for self-aware leadership can help you uniquely, I am going to put this up on the screen. If you go to spiralgrowthsystems.com/spiral strategy call at any point, you can schedule a time to speak with us directly to see if this is the best path forward for you and get a gauge of what measurable results we can help you with. So without further ado, let's dive all the way in. Now, I want you to consider what you are working towards, okay? If there were a magical kingdom that you are creating, okay, this is going to represent your magical kingdom. It's much more than a house. It's a magical kingdom, okay? So what is your magical kingdom? Like, what is the big thing that you are working towards? So most people, when they are trying to plug into progress, they do this. Okay, they move in a straight line. When they attempt to do that, unknowingly, creation is still moving through their lives. I mean, we can't stop that. We wouldn't want to stop that, right? But when things happen that are in the way of your magical kingdom, like maybe a team member stops performing, okay, or cash flow stalls, or maybe your marriage gets rocky, okay, you think these things are distracting your focus. So what you do is you just keep pushing ahead to try to get to that magical kingdom, not realizing that when you do that, there's actually a huge block right there, right? So maybe you ignore these obstacles and more keep popping up when you do, right? Just thinking that they're not part of this path that you have laid out to your magical kingdom, right? Now, this mindset ignores the fact that creation doesn't move in a straight line. it moves in a spiral, okay? This isn't the best illustration of it, but it is one. So to get from A to B, life sends in messages. It sends in learning curves. These learning curves are the focus, okay? But because they direct you to the changes that you need to make in your business and relationships. Okay, so here's a couple examples. Let's say that maybe you have a goal to double the size of your team in the next 6 months, okay? But maybe stuff starts coming up and it looks like it's getting in the way, but maybe when you go deep into why, it turns out that you need to learn how to grow your team with greater empathy so that when you get to the point of having 2 times the amount of team members, they actually want to show up to work, right? Or maybe you have a goal to build a new product and bring it to market this quarter, right? But maybe what you actually need is to go through a process of ego death first so that you can see more clearly what the product is supposed to do for the world. Now, it is common to feel shaken by change and to worry when change pops up, to worry that you're not going to be supported in your practical needs. This strips your focus, it causes you to dissociate, and it slows down progress. Okay, whether you're honest with yourself or not, these things happen to the majority of people when change arises, right? Not just leaders, humans, really. So the obstacles then fail to recalibrate your leadership the way they are intended to. So this spiral that you see here, it's not just something I thought would be fun to draw. It is exactly how the energy of creation moves through your business and life. Now, this is evident by observing the shape in which nature grows, how it shows up in the solar system, and even in your own body. Now, because we don't see this with the naked eye, we also don't see how it is activating change in our businesses and lives. So when we break it down, the mathematical equation that drives the spiral through your life looks like this. Okay, this is a Fibonacci sequence, which is the mathematical equation that cultivates the spiral that is moving through your business and life, always. Okay, again, we can't stop this, it just is. So the Fibonacci sequence guides leaders to build a foundation to scale. Okay, this is a foundation, both inside of you and externally in your business. And here is how. Okay, so the future informs the present, and it does so by beckoning the past, okay, so that we can integrate the past with the present. Okay, we add those together. And when the past adds to the present, it creates the future that was calling us to co-create it. So we do this by healing and alchemizing traumas, conditioning, past memories, pain that has affected us, our ancestors, society. Okay, we must heal the past to create a better future. Like we don't really have much. It's like we have a choice because we always have choice, but also we don't. We do and we don't, right? We can only heal the past, however, inside of the present. And this is authentic change. So when you allow change to move with creation's natural laws and you follow its guidance, and you learn how to follow its guidance, change goes from something that feels up and down, draining or exhausting to something that is sustainable and scalable, right? So instead of insisting on a linear process to change, right, that just keeps you butting your head up against a wall, what you need is to flow with the spiral of creation, okay? When you do this, it will allow you to flow with the waves of change exactly as nature intended, which speeds up growth, okay? Quick example. This is just like my student, Kate, who came to me at the age of 71, frustrated, ready to give up because she had put decades into trying to channel the gifts that she knew she had into sustainable business growth. Now this on the left, this is Kate holding the first half of the list of the very, very many things she had tried that hadn't worked all the way, okay? So then she joined Spiral Leadership Academy, and just a couple of months of rewiring how she relates to change, like you're seeing here, Kate discovered a clarity of purpose that she didn't even know was possible. What happened from there was organic business growth. Okay, within 6 months, Kate went from solopreneur who always felt like she was pushing to get ahead to having a full team supporting her, growing her business in a way that she didn't even, like again, she thought wasn't possible until then. So here is how we did this. To Let's go gray. All right, so to anchor yourself in rapid change, you need to cultivate a healthy nervous system, right? That allows you to face the wounds of the past while you keep moving forward, okay, without them holding you back. Now, the thing is, that's great. However, if the mind keeps working against you, the nervous system cannot stay well calibrated. So, what we do is we also use practices to recalibrate our sense of logic so that the non linear makes sense to us. Okay. This helps you stand rooted and steady inside of life's inevitable uncertainty so that you can stay on course to the expansion even when the unexpected happens. Right. Next, we repair your relationship with structure. Right. We do this so that you can stabilize your business, team, and family, even when you need to surrender all the way in to the arms of unexpected change in your inner and outer world. Then finally, we repair another relationship, okay? You need a relationship with structure and a relationship with flow, okay? This allows you to dance more consciously and consistently with the movement of life. It lets you move with life instead of against it, so that it doesn't feel like it's against you. Now, I would love to hear in the comments, I'm going to pop back to some of the previous comments, and I would love to hear in the comments which of these pieces stands out the most as something you are excited to harness for yourself. And Trev says, as a technology leader, change management is nonstop and critical. Oh, is it? Yep. And Casper says solo, but building a team. Awesome. So going from solo to having a team is where you're at in your business size and flow. That's awesome. Yay. All right. So to activate each of these shifts that you see here in the Spiral Leadership Academy, we use exercises and activations to help you develop somatic awareness, okay, which is an intimate understanding of the sensations and energy in the body. Now, we do this through a systematic process that starts with unwinding your nervous system so that you can be at peace consistently and make healthy choices no matter the circumstances. Then we work with your neural pathways, right, to rewire them. This is both reversing unhealthy neural patterns and building neuroplasticity to become more open and flexible to healthy change. And then finally, I will teach you techniques to follow the energetic pathways of your body and mind that make up emotional cleansing. Okay, this is emotional alchemy, which if you've been following my work for a while, you know what this is. If you're brand new to it, I have other lives that go much deeper into this. But this is emotional alchemy, which what it does is it heals the challenges, okay, at their root cause. Now, when we resist emotional alchemy, we meddle with change by projecting our fears, doubts, ego, unconscious ego onto it, okay? And what this does is it slows down the process that we are trying to speed up, just like back here, yeah? So emotional alchemy, when you activate it, it removes the barriers to progress that were hidden to the naked eye. Now, by the way, quick note here. I have been getting a ton of messages lately, and I'm actually really grateful to see them because these are fun messages to receive. A lot of DMs lately from leaders who are wanting to learn more about emotional alchemy and the specifics of how it can help them uniquely, like what kind of measurable change can it create in your business. So if this is you, if that's something you're curious about, we can talk more about it on a 15-minute Spiral Strategy call. So just a reminder that link to grab a call is in the comments below. So this model that we are looking at here, it will help you cultivate stability in rapid change. But in addition to stability, you also need to be able to keep steering the ship of your vision in the direction of your highest intentions. And there are so many pitfalls that stop people from staying the course. We see so many examples of companies and leaders that lose sight of integrity with rapid growth. Okay, company culture falls flat as they scale. We see people who give up companies that give up on their unique identity for the sake of scalability, or the perceived sake of scalability, and companies who sell out on the bigger vision for temporary gains. Okay, these are always things that you don't set out to do, but they are potential pitfalls, right? So how do we avoid that? How do you become aligned with the direction of your purpose and maintain consistent alignment with what is consistently and increasingly in the highest good of your vision, your customers, your team, and the well-being of your family at the same time as you grow rapidly? So to better understand the root of the challenge and the solution that we're going to work on today, I am going to invite you to do an exercise with me. Now, I am going to describe this exercise as a physical one, but if for any reason your body is unable to physically move with us, to physically follow along, then you are perfectly welcome to visualize this exercise instead of acting it out, and you will still get the same outcome, the same benefit from it. So if you can, hold out your right arm. Now, I'm going to do it like this so it's easier to see. You can hold it out straight ahead or to the side, actually. And bring your awareness. You might want to do this with your eyes closed. Welcome to keep them open, up to you. So bring your awareness, bring your mind's eye into the socket of your shoulder, the socket, okay, where the top joint of your humerus meets your upper arm bone, and there's a socket right there, okay? So begin now to raise your arm up and down. Do this with me, yeah? I know it seems cheesy, but I promise we're going somewhere. And I love these things because they take us somewhere. So the better you know your anatomy, obviously, the easier this is. But even if you know nothing about anatomy, you can still observe what we're doing through imagination and feeling, okay? So now raise your arm up and down. And as you do, you're focusing again on the joint and your shoulder socket, but notice the muscles around it, the muscles that help to lift your arm and lower and how they work together. But interestingly enough, though these muscles work together, they are also in opposition of each other. Okay, opposing muscles have to work together to lift your arm. Then there's the movement of the bone in the socket. Okay, opposing forces, and you can keep moving and notice that. Opposing forces help your arm move in the socket, right? I promise this is coming back to business. Now, you can just let your arm hang for a moment, okay? And notice now as it hangs, how opposing forces hold your arm in place and keep it from falling off, okay? Which is, frankly, a really good thing, right? Now, hold your arm out in front of you again. This time, you can move your arm at your elbow and hand, those joints right here, and let your arm jut in and out, and you can dance with your arm, okay? As you do, notice the opposing forces that help you move your arm and create the movement that you desire. Okay, you can let go now. Thank you for doing that with me. So obviously we're wondering, okay, what does this have to do with leadership, with business growth? Now, the irony is that even though you live consistently all the time, you wake up every morning and you spend every day in this amazing body that knows exactly how to use oppositional forces to create without having to think about it. Ironically, most leaders resist the heck out of the oppositional forces that are just as crucial to your business and your life as they are to your body. Okay, so if we break it down, there are 4 key oppositional forces that leaders and innovators are working with in all moments. Okay, first, no matter how focused your mindset is on the future, there is always an element of the past at play. Then we have the future, which appears to oppose the past. Right? Then down here, we have demands on your leadership. Okay, this is needs of your business, your team, etc. Okay, and then the opposing force up top is your desires. Okay, this could be a desire for greater freedom or a desire to spend more time at home, even though you're busy at work. Right? So now, if it is not yet glaringly obvious, in the middle, in between all these things, there is a key driving force that makes all of these elements appear to move in opposition of each other. That key driving force is time. Right? Now, you might have a really solid practice to realign yourself in the present moment. But most leaders tend to, when they get busy, when the pressure is on, they find themselves falling out of alignment with the opposing forces that you see here. Okay, when fears or memories of the past meet with your desires. Let's go teal. When the past meets with your desires, this can create fear of the future. Okay, because like the past has you fear the future, or it might create recurring patterns of instability, like deep ups and downs or patterns of loss in business. So now when the past faces off with your demands in business, okay, this can cause patterns of exhaustion, burnout. You might lose sight of your identity, like lose your identity. And this can create constant people pleasing. Okay. Now, this element over here, the future, is very interesting because it is externally focused, but it affects us in very internal ways. So, when life demands face off with the future, it can leave you feeling like you are constantly scrambling, juggling a lot of balls to keep up so that you can stay ahead of the rapidly moving curve of change. Now, when your desires conflict with the future, it can cause you to wonder if you'll ever get to leave my pen wonders if you can leave the legacy. Okay. So again, when your desires conflict with the future, it can cause you to wonder if you're ever going to get to leave the legacy that you want to leave on the planet. Or it can bring up fear that what if we never get to resolve the crucial problems on the planet, in society, before it's too late? Now, I would love to hear, and I'm going to pop back into the comments to see what's up over there. This worked real time. Oh my gosh, I love it. And it makes sense. I think you're talking about the arm. Brilliant. We do a lot of these physical exercises in Spiral Leadership Academy, by the way, to help us ground into, this is part of what helps us activate the shifts of energy that we can create on a cellular level. So again, I think I may have asked the question I was going to ask, but I do want to hear in the comments, these quadrants that are up here, what has the biggest challenge been for you? Okay, so for you, is it that you tend to be juggling more balls? Do you have fear of like, can I leave the legacy? Am I going to be able to, like, is stuff to seem to get in the way of the planetary change that you want, that you wish for? Maybe it's patterns of instability, or maybe you're full speed ahead, but you just have patterns of burnout or being the yes person too many times over. Okay, so I want to hear in the chat where you're at on this list or on these quadrants. Now, before I introduce a solution to what I just presented, I'm going to give you a caveat. Now, I considered when I was sitting with, exactly what wanted to come through today, I considered presenting a solution that was more superficial, which isn't bad. Superficial is not bad because superficial solutions are easier to understand. However, we are working on plugging into progress, and progress requires that you trust that you know a whole lot more than your prefrontal cortex or your thinking brain thinks it knows. So this next piece for some of you is going to make total sense, and for some of you it won't, okay? But I have an invitation for you either way. Just like how when you held out your arm, you observed the opposing forces in your body, and we observed that your body already knows. You don't have to think about those opposing forces. Your body just knew what to do with it, right? I am going to invite you to let the same be possible for the awareness and comprehension of what I am about to show you. Just let it be there without even having to think about it, okay? Let it make sense on a cellular level, whether it makes sense to your mind or not. So we're working with opposing forces here. And we see how time is this driving force that makes it look like everything's in opposition in the growth and progress of your business and of getting to have it all, right? So if you want to overcome the challenges we just laid out here, then what do you need to do? This is where quantum physics comes into play. Now, to illustrate this solution, let's look at it through the lens of a circle. Okay, this circle is a lot like time. Now, from one lens of perception, it keeps looping around. It has no beginning and no end. From this perspective, it's infinite. From a different lens, we also see that it has boundaries, okay? Now, everything inside of it. Well, that's not good. That means that the iPad is glitching. Can we get some tech support in here? Thank you. All right, everyone. While we are getting, and I will go back and I'll start from the top as soon as our amazing Christopher supports the technology and working in our favor. Thank you. Again, I'm glad we got these new headphones that I can hear you now. So while he is fixing that, I think it's a restart that he has to do. So while that is happening, let's talk about quantum physics, okay? I'm not going to introduce what I was going to introduce yet. I'll do that when we've got the drawing, the diagram. But the question might be, well, it's going to be clear actually once I present the diagram. But the question might be like, okay, quantum physics and business. So time, I'll go deeper into time before I present like the solution of the obstacles and the divide and the opposition we're talking about. So time is like the epitome, the way we see how time works in our leadership. We really can't understand it unless we can understand quantum physics. And I want to be clear, just like I said before about like, well, what I'm about to present, it may make sense, it may not. Quantum physics doesn't need to make sense on a conscious intellectual level. Melinda from Creately, hello. So it doesn't need to make sense on a conscious intellectual level, okay? What we are talking about with quantum physics and how it serves our leadership is that we consciously know everything's intrinsically connected, right? And so what we forget is that the way creation is moving through our life is causing these intersections and interconnections between various members of your team and how they need to work together. Between, why does something get all weird with a particular client, or why is it that, that deal just fell flat? Time is moving things in your life and your business so that you can, again, go deeper into the past to heal it and create into the future. And again, we have to, this is repeat of where we've been, right? We have to heal the past so that we can create the future. So quantum physics, what it does, again, it's not a conscious understanding. What we work with in Spiral Leadership Academy is about the embodiment of it. It's about us taking our bodies and aligning with that movement of creation so that how time is moving, we can actually move with it. I'm going to quickly, I think we are back. In a moment, we will be back. Am I good to go? Oh, yay. All right, perfect, because I just completed what was coming through. Okay, so let's go back. I want to do a quick recap before and I want to pull up. So I'm going to go back through and kind of start from the top of what we were just doing. But real quick recap, we are, again, working with opposing forces, right? So again, how do we, what's the solution there? So again, to illustrate this solution, I digress. We're going to look at it through how to deal with these opposing forces. We'll look at it through this lens of a circle, okay? And again, the circle, like I said before, is a lot like time. So from one lens of seeing it, it keeps looping around. It has no beginning. I'm trying to get it to match. I was the kid who didn't color in the lines. So the circle has no beginning and no end, right? So from this perspective, it is infinite. However, from another lens, which is equally true, we also see that it has boundaries, okay? It has finite limits. So everything inside of it is contained inside of those limits. For this circle to exist, we need both the infinite and the finite in equal amounts for the circle and the things inside of it to actually exist or to be held in the circle, right? Life is like this and time is like this. So the flow of the motion that we see here, again, structure and flow. Finite boundaries with the infinite intact. So with the opposing energies from our earlier diagram here, the goal is not to make these things go away. I mean, yeah, we do want to heal the challenges in each of these quadrants and turn them into something that is much more aligned. But the four core energies here are actually all integral to your success. We need them in some way to grow. And as we saw with the numbers in the Fibonacci sequence, again, you need the past and the future in the present to create progress. Okay, so You need a desire here, actually. You need desire to propel you. You need demands of the practical world to stay grounded here in the present. So if we look back at this circle as a metaphor for your power as a creator, as a co-creator. Okay, you don't have the power chooses you, it comes from someplace much bigger than you. So when we look at this circle as a metaphor for that co-creative power that you have, we see a greater possibility. Okay, specifically, metaphysics shows us that when you have a finite boundary around something, as we do in our human perception of time, we cannot break through the boundaries by trying to push against them. If we try to push against, we're not going to get anywhere, okay? Instead, we need to relax into those boundaries. Mathematically speaking, if you want to expand something within its finite limits, you can't multiply it because you can't go beyond those limits. So instead, you need to divide it. You need to fractalize it, okay, like this. Exactly like that, right? And you can keep going on and on and on. So when we have limits, like we do with our time, the way to multiply and to have more, to hold more, to be and do more as a leader in the time that you have is to go inward. Okay, we subdivide in order to multiply. Just like within the boundaries of this circle, as long as you keep expanding or really even fractalizing into it, then you can expand out in terms of how much you can be, do, have, or hold as a leader. This is what I call fractalizing in to fractalize out. It is one of the favorite things that I have about what I get to do for a living. And it is a crucial skill for effective leadership in today's rapidly changing times. Now, what causes the forces here to oppose, it's not time, rather it is how you relate to time. So I want to hear from each of you in the chat, and I'm going to go back to your old chat messages and see what's up with those. But I want to hear now, if you, within the finite boundaries, okay, where have finite boundaries for you thus far stood in the way of your business or your personal goals? Like for you, is it time? Is it money? Is it delegating to the people who can do things as well as you can? Or is it finding those right people? Right? Or is it the constraints of, time with family versus business? Is it people's expectations? Where are those finite constraints that have blocked your ability to make progress? So again, I want to hear from you in the comments. If you specifically could expand into the boundaries of time, money, leadership, where do you want to see more impact with less effort? So I want to hear that in the comments. And Nathaniel says, I have to listen to this again. I hear that a lot with my stuff. I want to go back and listen again. I'll take that as a compliment. So from the previous question, where those constraints tend to fall for each of you, juggling, leaving a legacy. Yeah. Yes. All right. So again, I want to hear your response to this. And because we have a lovely LinkedIn Live delay, I am going to come back to those responses. Now, you are probably wondering, okay, fractalize in to fractalize out, but how in the world do you do this? Now, in the interest of time, I am going to show you in the next piece because they are all connected, okay? But first, a couple of examples of fractalizing in to fractalize out. This is my student Chet. So when Chet came to me, he was constantly pulled between the demands of being an executive at a Fortune 50 company, being a dad, caring for a mother with Alzheimer's, and a new romantic relationship. All of these demands, of course, clashed with his desires to be a bigger change in the world, and it zapped any hope that he had for creativity. So for Chet, fractalizing in to fractalize out looked like learning how to activate his intuitive and creative gifts, even when he was constantly busy with travel, late night meetings, family demands. The gifts he opened up in the process helped him to feel spacious no matter how busy he actually was. He gained patience and focus to lead his team more efficiently. He got back the time that he needed that allowed him to build a new company with a clear purpose that now guided him. And then this is my student, Corey. Corey is a cybersecurity founder. He's a cybersecurity. He was a co-founder. He's now a founder. And Corey started the Spower Leadership Academy exhausted, bogged down by the ebbs and flows of a very rapidly growing business with investors counting on him, etc. Okay, now as Corey plugged into progress, he learned how to lean into the ebbs as well as the flows. This helped his team step up and lead the vision with him. And he developed an internal sense of stability and inner power that has sped up his business growth. Okay, it has allowed him to make progress in every season of business, the ebbs and the flows. So for you, let's look at this last piece that you need to make this happen. Now, quick review before we do of what we have learned so far about expansion. Okay, we have gone over the non-linear way in which creation is guiding us and how it's crucial to lean into it for change. Okay, we've explored how the Fibonacci sequence guides us. Where is my Fibonacci slide? How the Fibonacci sequence guides us like this and like this to heal the past within the present to create the change that we wish to see. And we have looked at how important it is to align ourselves with opposing forces to find sustainable alignment as we grow. So if it is not already obvious, let's be very clear. Contraction is the runway for expansion. It gives the plane of your growth the room it needs to take off. So you can think of contraction as someone giving birth, okay? The uterus contracts, helping the cervix to expand out, which is what allows life to birth through it. It's a magical process, right? And leaders have this capacity within them. So instead of it being a grueling process, when we do it the way I'm about to show you, it becomes more like a snake naturally shedding its skin. So in order to make an impact, let's look at this next guy. Over and here. All right. So in order to make an impact, you need action and drive, right? That is yang. And in order to feel connected with your purpose, fulfilled and aligned with your authentic truth, you also need equal amounts of being still and surrendering to life's mystery. That is the yin. Now, even if you have worked hard on connecting to both, most people separate these things, okay? And I would love to hear in the comments, somebody was saying, I don't want to comment because I'm being attentive to details. That's sweet. I want to hear in the comments for you. Do you find it easier to be in the yin, the surrender, the stillness? Is it easier to go drive, momentum, go, go, go? Or for you, maybe you have both down, but it's about integrating the two. So where are you at in balancing these energies in your life? I want to hear in the chat. Now, here is what happens when these two energies and states of being are not integrated as a leader. Okay, what happens is we feel pushed by a sense of urgency and pulled by desires that go unfulfilled. We're pushed by the needs of our business, pulled by the needs of our family or loved ones. Okay, we then thrive off of quick wins until we burn out, which makes us addicted to adrenaline, okay, unconsciously addicted to adrenaline to keep on going. So we then self-sabotage to seek the connection that we innately need, which puts us in a cycle, of oxytocin and adrenaline, like a back and forth cycle. We need one, we need the other, but we can never have both at the same time is the way it seems, okay? This is where it becomes common for leaders to overwork to avoid having to really be with their feelings. So we then think that we need to keep our heads down with discipline. We think it's healthy, okay, to have this form of discipline that I'm talking about. Discipline. Okay, my pen is choppy, but you can read it, I think. So we suppress our desires, right, in order to get work done when we're that disciplined, which causes us to compartmentalize. Let's say that says compartmentalize all the way, to compartmentalize our freedom. And we put off feeling alive because we believe that that's what we're supposed to do when we're done working. And at this point, your impact and fulfillment become completely divided. You can either scale or you can have joy, but never both at the same time, right? The drive for impact sucks your life force. The drive for fulfillment leaves you pulling at threads to stay just nourished enough professionally or personally so that your relationships don't fall apart, okay? Now, to resolve this, what do? to resolve this, we go deeper into the mystery of the dark and the light that is creation's yin-yang balance. A business needs new ideas and inspiration that come from something much more than the mind. That is the mystery. To go deep into the mystery where it is all connected, we've got to reimagine how we perceive darkness and light. The dark is actually the fertilizer for the soil, and the light plants the seeds that you need to grow. The dark provides nourishment so that your seeds can grow into well-nourished plants with less effort, hustle, or force. And then the light harvests those seeds. Now, here in this space, there is no negative, no bad, no wrong, okay? With you and your team, it becomes a more cohesive, there is no such thing as bad. Everything here becomes forward movement. Now, in Spiral Leadership Academy, we flip the script of dark and light so they work together. And we do this by using your body as the guide, okay? We use somatic exercises and tools to activate bodily awareness so that you can then go deeper into the truth of your own consciousness and your wisdom. Once you gain access to the mystery of your consciousness, I will then teach you how to discern subtle energy so that you know what's a wound and what is a gift and what to do with both, what is dark and what is light in their truth of context, okay? And how to use both energies to cultivate more light, growth, expansion, and abundance to be the change you wish to see. So rather than forcing the dark to turn into light, because that actually is just false light, which creates more dark, I will then teach you how to use your own consciousness so that you can be the flashlight in the dark, so that you can trust every crack and crevice to guide you to greater wisdom. We do this by using your body's innate ability to fertilize the soil of your expansion through alchemy. This is loving it all. Emotional alchemy, it heals your relationship with the dark. It teaches you to surrender. And alchemy within your consciousness heals your relationship to the light, which allows you to be far more powerful in your choices as a leader. So now the light and the dark becomes something that we get to dance with in co-creation, right? So where we used to struggle with push and pull, now we have discernment to guide our choices and mutual amounts of trust to be able to surrender to life so that life can help us with less effort, right? And then we find a deeper connection. It's as within, so without. And instead of sourcing from adrenaline and that back and forth between oxytocin and adrenaline, instead we have intrinsic motivation that stems from this connection, okay? And this consistent connection to yourself helps you to have consistent energy throughout the day. So where we struggled with a gap that separated hard work from freedom, instead, we find a fully integrated stability. That is stability. Fully integrated stability and genuine freedom in every area of our lives, careers, and our personal lives too. Okay. And then instead of separating scalability and joy and not being able to have both at the same time, instead you find a shared sense of abundance. Okay. Abundance that shifts your perspective and fuels you. There we go. And fuels you with inspiration. Integrating yin and yang, it'll help you navigate rapid growth and innovation with a well-integrated structure and flow, logic, and empathy. That's where you bring these things together as one. Okay, you'll remain organized in the chaos and be able to organize chaos to fuel bigger purpose. So let's recap what you need to plug into progress. Okay, I'm curious of the 3 steps we covered, which one resonates the most with you. And I'm going to go back to the yin and yang. So Obilo says yin is the easier one for you. Melinda says, I would dive into a mix of both depending on requirement. A lot of people are in there growing in the integration of that now, which is why, we're doing what we're doing today. So again, what you need to plug into progress, let's recap. Okay, and I want to hear which one you have enjoyed the most in the comments and why. So first, we need to navigate change. Second, we learned to align direction. And then finally, we worked on balancing and really integrating the laws of expansion. Now, there is, before we close out, one more key to share today that will ensure that everything that we've looked at today is more than just information or something you learned, okay? I would far prefer to help you experience transformation rather than load up your mind with information, which frankly would be overwhelming and unsupportive to the rapid growth of your innovation and purpose. There's a reason why a lot of leadership programs out there load you with information that gives you like this much growth because you're trying to take your mind into it. Should I say this here? Where do I say that? Okay. That's only helpful to a point because, again, it overloads you with information rather than embodied transformation. So today, everything we've discussed today instead must be experienced on a cellular level for the transformation to take place, which is why we've discussed elements today for transformation like somatic awareness, rewiring your neural pathways, and emotional alchemy. Because without these key pieces, everything that you've learned today would just be information rather than transformation. I don't want to do that to you. Okay. Now, imagine for a moment that all that we've gone through today, imagine that it becomes actual, sustainable, scalable, ever-growing transformation that you can take with you through the next chapters and layers of life. Imagine staying consistently connected to your vision, even amidst rapidly changing times. And imagine your innovation and the physical growth of your business matching the authentic power you feel inside that is connected to your soul's purpose. And imagine the intrinsic motivation this would bring to your team, your clients, the authentic presence you could bring to your family. I want you to really feel this and begin to choose the embodiment of it. Okay, this is being able to thrive as a leader in the face of ever increasing pressure without sacrificing your personal fulfillment, alienating your loved ones, or losing sight of your purpose. So for you, if you are ready to embrace a next level of your leadership development, one where power, authentic power, fuels your business and life, and it comes from a place much bigger than you alone, one where the bar for your transformation is higher than perhaps you even knew it could be, then Spiral Leadership Academy is where it is at. So if that sounds like you, the easiest way to learn more is to jump straight onto a 15-minute call so that you can see if what I offer is a fit for you uniquely. Now, you can go to, the link is up on the screen. You could also type it into your search bar, or you could click through in the comments. So again, any of those will work. And just to clarify, this is not some sort of like a sales call. There's going to be absolutely nothing to buy on the call. Okay. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to clarify what you actually need and make sure that what we offer is a fit for you, and it'll allow you to just kind of dip your toes in the water. Make sure that we feel like the right fit to support you, and that it's worth your time investment to then invest more time in further exploring what I offer. Okay, to see if it is the right fit. Now, in that 15 minutes, if we are not the right fit, we're going to let you know, but we will point you in the right direction. Okay, so you'll leave the call knowing what the best fit is for your next steps. And if we are the right fit, then we can lay out next steps from there of what I offer, how to explore what I offer, and what measurable outcomes it'll help you with. So again, link is in the chat up on the screen. You can type it in your browser. Or last but not least, if you want a book, and we are about to get to Q&A in a second, by the way, so don't leave. There's lots coming with Q&A. So, but again, if you want a book and you have any questions first, you are welcome to email us at ask@spiralgrowthsystems.com. Go ahead and put the subject line questions in the subject so that we know you're here from the live. And again, this is just if you have any questions before booking a call. If there's anything you want to know first, email us there. We're happy to support you. Now, without further ado, let's jump into questions. Of course, I absolutely love all kinds of comments, shares. I want to hear it all. If you do have a question that you want to make sure I answer, please put Q in front of it so that I know you want me to answer. And while you're doing that, I'm going to do two things. I've got some questions that were actually pre-submitted. Some people DM me some questions, and I want to go back in the chat to make sure that I am not missing. I didn't see any big questions come through. So go ahead. Again, you're putting your questions. Make sure you put a Q if it's a question you want me to answer. Sally says it sounds like mindset with LOA. That's interesting. It's totally not. And it is, but it's not. There is an element of, yes, you attract in, yes, there is, we are co-creators. I'm not going to go deep into it today because that's not what today is about. Law of attraction is interesting because it's like, it's a paradox, and it can be used with false light, which what it does is it gives you some quick wins, which slow your progress in the end because it's false light. Or it can be used from a true sense of light. However, in order to do that, you have to go deep into the dark, which is, what we talked about. And I think you put that in before you saw that piece too. So, yeah, it does at first. It sounds like that, right? And then I'm like, but you got to go into the dark. You got to feel all the feels. And it's like, oh, that's not LOA. But then it is, because it actually attracts in far better, far more easily, which somebody was asking for examples, and that actually kind of links to, so that actually is a perfect segue. And I'm still looking to see if there's any other questions I'm missing. That actually, what I just said, is a perfect segue to a question that Frank submitted, Frank. So Frank asked, can you share examples of companies or leaders who have successfully integrated innovation, rapid growth, and a strong sense of purpose into their leadership strategies, and what key takeaways can we learn from their experiences? I'm going to say, and like how that links to what I was just saying about law of attraction, and how this really isn't that, not to make it wrong, to each their own. Again, it works to a degree, and then you got to go deeper, right, for it to really work. But in terms of Frank's question and like how they combine, some of the leaders that I can share with you that have integrated, innovation, rapid growth, strong sense of purpose into very fast growth in their business, have also been ones that have attracted in what they require. That is part of how the rapid growth has served them. One example that's coming up right now is my student, Jeff. Jeff is a co-founder of a marketing company, and he came to me. They were on the brink of scaling. Not a huge company. I do have some students with very large companies. Jeff's company had 10 team members when he first came to me. And however, they were about to double the size of the team, and they wanted to do it quickly. And of course, he was concerned, can we grow that rapidly and keep the team's commitment and motivation and productivity all there? Are they going to still feel seen by me? So what we actually did was we worked a lot on his empathy. And not just from a canned, like, love Simon Sinek, but we went a lot deeper into empathy than that, like a lot deeper. I do love him, actually, but we went a lot deeper into the cellular transformation of that. And what he found was that the more he embodied, yes, the logic he had as a leader, and also a sense of empathy, it allowed his team to feel much more connected. So that allowed them to, yes, double the size of his team in just a couple of months, like very, very rapidly. Lots of onboarding, but they did it. And his existing team actually became more committed to the vision. The team members he attracted in were more committed to the vision. And from there, they started attracting in clients who were more committed to the vision as well. So again, what allowed him, like the key takeaway from like, okay, but how do you scale rapidly, is that you actually, again, you have to fractalize in to fractalize out. The more connected you are to yourself as a leader, the easier it is to get spidey senses that will literally light up. I mean, not literally, I guess you don't see actual light bulbs, but almost literally, spidey senses that almost literally light up, where you can start to see what your team actually needs, why and where progress is slowed down, etc. I'm happy to share more examples. There's tons more. Will you let me know? Because I've got so many questions. I don't see any other in the chat, and I do want to share the self-assessment. So stay tuned for that. I want to go to a few more questions that were submitted. So if you do want to hear more case study examples of rapid growth and key takeaways, will you please let me know in the comments if you want that? And then I'm going to go to additional questions. Jessica asked, Jessica says, I would love to know how continuing believing in yourself and your purpose when you are not necessarily seeing measurable progress in the short term, like how, if you're not seeing measurable progress, how do you keep believing in yourself and your purpose? She says it can be, and I know a lot of people can probably relate to this, it can be difficult to stay motivated towards a goal when you feel like all your efforts have you treading water, so to speak. I love this question, Jessica, because it really is, this is a big thing for a lot of people. this is cheesy, however, it's true, and I think it is an important awareness to let land. The progress in your business, you need structure, you need strategy. However, it is very closely linked to what the spiral of creation is sending in. And what is actually ironic is that the things that appear to be taking away from your goals and getting in the way are meant to progress your goals. So this is more than a mindset shift. Okay, it is a mindset shift, and it is an awareness shift in allowing yourself to go into emotional alchemy and allowing yourself to feel what it feels like when you're slowed down by progress. Allowing yourself to actually like go into the energy of what it feels like when it sucks, to go all the way into it without your mind saying this sucks, without your mind saying, oh, never mind, I don't want to work today. Okay, letting yourself feel it. This is the balance and integration of the yin and yang. Letting yourself, the soil fertilize itself and the seeds start to plant. So the more you balance the yin and yang, but I recommend first, we have to be able to go all the way into the yin, all the way into the surrender, and then we can make conscious choices and quote unquote efforts to build and grow from there. Now, for some people, you need to go more yang first. For Jessica, because I know you, I know I can say that it is. It's go yin and then you can go yang. But we do need both. There's so much more I could say there. I think that's enough for today because we do have more questions, and I want to hand off the self-assessment coming in a moment. So let's see. Carolina asked, why is my mouse not going over here? Carolina asked just for more leadership strategies. And so what I'm going to say is this is not the self-assessment, but if you want to click through to my profile, you can right click to not click out and stay for the last few questions in the self-assessment if you want, because the self-assessment is not on my profile. But if you want to go to my profile, if you're interested in more strategies to learn about leadership like Carolina asked for, go to my profile and there's a free training there. There might be a book there too. There's a free training and a book, or go to my website and you'll find both. And those are really good, especially the free training that's on my LinkedIn profile is a great place to start. Let's see. Oh my God, so many great questions. Let's see, time for one or two more. Frank, I'm going to answer one more of Frank's questions. Which one? Adapt. Okay. In today's fast-paced business environment, what are some practical steps leaders can take to foster a culture of ownership, continuous learning, and adaptability among their teams? This is actually where I digress and I go back to empathy. However, the way we understand empathy is a bit skewed traditionally in society. And so what we need to do first actually is we need to cultivate a sense of empathy with ourselves. Company culture, it's this thing that's very external, and it is very, very, very important to look at the external and to look at what's going on with your various team members. But to create a thriving, continuous learning, agile, adaptable team, the more you know yourself, the more you're going to understand humanity. Now, you are a different inclination of humanity than anyone else. Okay, you have a unique blueprint and fingerprint-like version of your own humanity. However, what I have found is that for each of us, the more we know ourselves, the more connected we are and able to connect to humanity. And then what that does, it allows, it's kind of like a spider web out, where instead of your team being like this cluster F of a web of various energies and interests and desires and skills, and then the company culture is like, it's erratic and they can't shift agilely together. Again, if you're like the spider in the middle of the web, weaving the web, okay, and your team is, doing it with you, the more you know your humanity, the more the web spreads out into the unique wisdom and gifts, which is actually why when I work with teams, because I have been starting to do more teamwork lately, and when I work with teams, one of the very first things we pretty much always do is go into the unique wisdom of each team member, because the more each of us understands ourselves, the more each of us understands each other. So that's a tip for company culture as you scale. I think that's all we have time for today. Stephen did ask some really great questions, and I'm hoping that they got answered so Stephen, you are not going ignored. I think that we covered a lot of what you wanted to know. Stephen wanted to talk about integrating spiritual intelligence into business models to drive innovation and purposeful growth. Honestly, everything we shared here is a strategy for that in a way. Obviously, if you were to try to take what I literally just taught into a business, you would have to embody it first. You can't just like take these things, you can embody them, and then your unique way will come out. However, that's the strategy, right? That's like if you want to integrate spiritual intelligence and like deeper awareness into a business and have people receive it, have various types of leadership understand the change that you're trying to create in their organization and get on board with it, the more you are embodied in your wisdom, apropos everything we talked about today, the easier that gets. Because the more you have broken through the barriers of change inside of yourself, the easier it is to do on the outside. All right. That is enough for today. We are a few minutes over the time I intended to go. So now, I did mention earlier, a self-assessment. So plug into progress, like I also mentioned earlier, plugging into progress is one of the 9 accelerators that you need to run your business, lead your team, and love your family from authentic power that grows your impact and fulfillment together. Okay, so that they unite everywhere in business and life. And again, I digress that I mentioned earlier. If you want the self-assessment, now is the time. Okay, so this is if you want to learn more about this entire framework to cultivate a sweet spot between your impact and fulfillment without it taking up extra time and energy in your already busy life. Then if you want that, if you want this self-assessment that'll walk you through these accelerators, help you to assess where you are at in your growth as a leader, then pop into either the comments or the direct messages. You DM me or pop into the comments the word self-assessment, and I can take this down so my team can put that up. Self-assessment. Okay. In the self-assessment, I will take you through each of the 9 leadership accelerators that you need to unlock authentic power and catalyze growth in every part of your business, your leadership, your relationships. And you're going to walk away from the self-assessment knowing what specific things you need to focus on for your growth as it pertains to your very specific goals. So again, if that sounds good to you, comment below in the chat or DM me self-assessment. I just saw a couple of DMs pop up, so I think that's what those are about. And my team is standing by to get those to you, to get that to you straight away. So, a lot of energy moving today. I have given you everything I can for today. However, as always, the real power of this work is in the container, the energetic activations, the process of the framework. So if you're ready for a next level, then I do hope you will book a call so we can talk about where you're at, what you need right now. Again, the link to do that is in the comments. Or you can go to spiralgrowthsystems.com/spiral strategy call. I just want to thank you. We have a growing community over here on these LinkedIn Lives. And it was nice to see some new faces today as well. So thank you. Thank you for your time, your presence, your energy that you brought here today. The people that are attracted into the work that I offer and what we do inside of these trainings and these conversations tend to be change makers and just very cool people. So whether you're actively out there creating change or you wish to see change, or for you, change is about, how can I retire and still be all that I wish to be and like be present with my family, right? So for whatever it is about for you, thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing your energy into today. If we do get to talk on that call, I look forward to connecting. And again, either way, just thank you so much for your presence. And I will see you again on the flip side. Over and out.